for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free US mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Inside the News here on WinFM. I am your host today, Gian Williams, because we are here with another episode of Alarm Clock, held in partnership with Win Media SKN. We are continuing our work and our conversations about restructuring the economy post-COVID-19. So a couple weeks ago, we had our first show in that series where we discussed the digital economy, talking about, different things like how our services have improved, the rooms for improvement in relation to doing services online, our capabilities to advance that even further, and generally how COVID-19 has impacted all of that. So we've really had some good conversations about the digital economy, and then we had conversations relating to agriculture and marine resources. Lots of great suggestions coming from the persons who we had on the show. We talked about how we could possibly increase participation in agriculture by including more innovative practices. We talked about the possibilities and the potential of the cannabis industry, different things about, the fishing industry, and all these different things that we can look to, all in the hopes that we become more self-sufficient as a country, and hopefully we act as if we learned something from this COVID-19 pandemic. So today we'll be discussing the orange economy. That is the economy associated with entertainment and the arts. Now, we know this is a topic that gets quite heated at times. Lots of input from knowledgeable practitioners in the industry. Lots of input from persons who just like to go out and be entertained, and lots of people who don't like to go out and entertain but still have lots of views on what the entertainment industry should look like. So today we have gathered a panel who we think would really add value to the discussion of structuring a post-19 economy for St. Kitts and Nevis with specific focus on the arts and entertainment industry. So we're going to hear about, we're going to hear from promoters, we're going to hear from DJs, we're going to hear from creators and contributors to the entertainment industry. And so we look forward to a really heated discussion. No, I wouldn't say heated. Heated is a bad word. Heated sound like people come here, come views. No, it's not nothing like that. But we come to share our views, and the purpose of Alarm Clock is really to get the views of the people who we don't normally hear from. We want this to be a platform for anybody in St. Kitts and Nevis to come and hear your views, so that we don't always have to be subjected to the same voices, or you make sure that your voices are collected when policymakers make their decisions. So that's really the platform, like many other platforms in St. Kitts and Nevis. But for Alarm Clock, we like to focus on national development, sometimes with a very strong focus on politics and the economy. So all that introduction, and I'm sure like quarter of the time for the hour done gone. But I'm joined in studio now by 3 gentlemen so far, and we will be welcoming a fourth. And so I'm happy to introduce with me Mr. MJ Byron. MJ look like he just wake up, but just in time you're gonna get out of it, right? Yeah, sure. Nigel True Kappa Lewis, I think everybody knows the name when we talk about film industry, and I'm sure everybody knows the name of Maurice Ike Flanders.
Morning.
Yes. So, gentlemen are here to talk about, the entertainment industry. When we've done these shows, we've pretty much done it in 3 parts. We want to look at where we were, what COVID-19 did, and where we can go from there. So that's generally the layout of how today's discussion is going to go. So I'll start with you, MJ. Of course, introduce yourself and, let us know a bit about what you did prior to COVID-19.
All right. Good morning to the listeners. Good morning to my colleagues here. Well, my name is MJ Byron, CEO, founder of the EVJ Harmonics Steel Orchestra. Who are we? We are a group of young individuals, group of young musicians, come together from across the country, and I could say the federation to put together a variety of music via the steel pan. Before the whole COVID issue, life was good in the entertainment industry, like performance week after week, month after month, no complaints. The only complaint we had probably that we were tired.
Sounds like a good complaint to have.
Yeah, it's a good complaint. And, of course, COVID, we saw what it did for the entire world, but most of the entertainment industry, we kind of stumped us a bit. We gave it respect. It's like, okay, cool, for a minute. And then the minute turned to an hour turned to months, and, a year. And what that time has done for me, and I guess for my group, is cause us to do some introspection where we're on the low, where we're not going around playing out every week. We sometimes you get lost. You lose yourself in just going. So we had the opportunity to just sit down and be like, okay, what can we change? What should we change? Where should we change? How do we go forward after? We ain't reached the after yet, but no, we have already put stuff in place to say, okay, this is the avenue we'll take. During this time, what can we do to maintain, to sustain, to still be relevant in a time like this? And we've seen a lot of different online shows and all those stuff. And it was like, okay, do we want to venture into that? Or do we want to just bring out a nice album just to, suit people in this time in their home or wherever in the world? And ideas has been coming. So there's where we are now in the planning, in the introspection stage of things, and that goes for me personally too. How I used to move before, just go, go, go. Now we had to slow down and really look about what is happening. How can I add? How can I make better? How can no longer we can just help the schedule just go because it's blooming. Now you can't do that. Now you have to be very picky in what we do and when we do, how we do.
Force you to be innovative, maybe?
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know if there's any of that you could share later on in the show. And just say good morning, of course. Let me make sure we could see. The mics, unfortunately, are blocking our fourth. Yes. Yeah, but we'll get that sorted out. But trust me. Okay. All right, so trust me, we'll sort that out later on in the show. So if anybody is watching on Win Media SKN Facebook page, you're gonna get to see the faces if you want to see the faces, or if you're just satisfied listening on the radio. Of course, we'll also have opportunities for you to call in and air your views as well. So good morning to Raphael Rodney. I always say Alfonso in my head. Raphael Rodney, Fonz, better known as Fonz.
Good morning.
Yes, so thanks for coming. So our panel is now complete. So we know that we're gonna have some really fruitful discussion here this morning. But let's shift to you, True Capo. Like, what was happening with you before COVID, and how were you impacted?
Before COVID, I was supposed to be on a Caribbean tour. Honestly, I was supposed to be filming different islands, but COVID couldn't stop it. But it never really impacted me that much, because I'm a video director, video creator. So what happened is, even during COVID, I was getting work. Yeah, because person was reaching out to me to do like what do you call it? Sanitization videos and so forth.
Oh, okay.
He had companies reaching out to me to do commercials for them about the new procedures to enter in the store. Tourism as well, hired me to do some jobs about I think it was the hotels reopening and so forth. So COVID just gave me more work.
That's a blessing.
That's
to be honest.
Well, so I don't know. It seemed like so far, I don't know what the other two are going to say, but so far COVID has been somewhat of a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, I was working, regardless.
So you haven't been negatively impacted by that.
I mean, the only negative impact I would say COVID did was because we released a film last year, A Rose Between Thorns. So
Award-winning
film, yes. So the only thing it prevented me from going to film festivals in Netherlands, Austria, LA, New York, Miami. Like these was festivals were scheduled to be at, but because of COVID, everything had to be virtual.
Oh, okay.
That's the only negative impact of COVID. Couldn't be on the red carpet.
You lost your red cap. Well, I'm sure you'll have more red carpet opportunities as well.
Definitely.
In the future.
Definitely, trust me. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ike? Promoter, DJ, entertainer, all sorts of different things. How was life for you before COVID in the entertainment industry, and what did COVID do to you?
Okay, good morning, everybody. Before COVID, I mean, as MJ said, it was bang, 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 bang. It was extremely busy. You couldn't catch a breath, but I, for one, kind of glad for COVID, because I got some rest, finally. But the rest didn't last too long because, as you say, promoter, DJ, singer, and radio personality. So I really and truly didn't stop working. I just transformed, moved into a different realm, as opposed to being in front of the large crowds, but still was in front of the crowds virtually though. For me, COVID really and truly exposed a lot of things for us to correct, to build on, to define going forward. I mean, in the minds of the creatives and the entertainers, if you somehow thought that because you were very busy that you were somehow a part of the economy and you were taken seriously, you were shown that not a thing or so, that we still have ways to go in being a part of the economy, from the aspect of being taken seriously. The powers that be, I don't think they really and truly value us the way we're supposed to be valued. I mean, if you look around the world at the entertainment industry and what it's going through right now, it has made billions of dollars for some people. And the powers that be, I don't think they really and truly respect that, because you would have heard the sentiments being expressed on social media. That is not a real job. Once you're in entertainment, it's not a real job. I guess you have to be a doctor or a lawyer.
A good hobby, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't respect it as though it's a discipline, a career. It's a livelihood. I mean, putting my children through school, I mean, it has helped so many people. You just ask the children of entertainers what it does for them and people in the community, what we do for people in the community. Because sometimes I do a job, catch about a 2,500, and no sooner than I get the check in my hand or the cash in my hand, somebody pops up, want help with something, and we are seen as influencers, savers, sometimes even banks. And you have to stretch out your hand because you never know when you might need help. I mean, that's just my mindset, And I think that we are at the point now going forward where we have to, I wouldn't say so much formalize it, but actually take it serious.
Who has to take it seriously, you think?
The powers that be. I mean, yes, we have a role to play in how we structure our businesses as well. I mean, of course, good business practices. Those who aren't practicing good business practices, they now have to get in line. But the powers that be now have to understand that entertainment is just as viable business as any other. So for me, I think we're in a good position going forward to make the entertainment industry a part of the economy, taken seriously, have a seat at the table. And if even not for us who are in the know, at least for those who are coming behind us.
All right, thanks. So Fonz, what about you? Fonz, promoter. I guess you can tell us all of the titles that you have. But before COVID and after COVID, what does that look like for you now?
Well, before COVID, what I can say is, well, you gave me a few hats. I just refer to myself as.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I just refer to myself as a production manager and event curator, more or less. And then we also created a business that assists in anybody, basically, who wants to have an event. We do logistics, production, and assist in event management. Prior to COVID, So prior to COVID, we had a few things lined up. As a matter of fact, we even released a calendar, which COVID basically shut down. But nonetheless, prior to COVID, we had a few things structured overseas, more or less, because after a while, you would try to expand and grow your entity. In my opinion, that's what it should be about, growth. I have a lot of friends who are event curators and promoters overseas, and they may have started in the islands and they ended up in Miami or New York or Canada. So we had some intentions for Canada and Florida, Angola, St. Martin. Yeah. But COVID came and that changed up. In terms of the impact, to be honest, I've spoken enough about the struggles, and nobody really care to hear about all those things. Everybody concerned about themselves right now. I don't think it's even a selfish thing, but the reality is everybody wants to get back. So one of my struggles was I'm not here to really talk about it. I'd rather talk about what we're going to do in the future. But during COVID, I tried to make myself busy. As a matter of fact, I'm sharing a panel right now with 20 people that played a very important role in helping us to keep people feeling good, keep people entertained, giving them information at the same time. We created something called The Vaccine, which was a virtual show. This was birthed out of J Black Studio. I called up Chukapo. And Chukapo is a long time friend since growing up in Newtown. So anything I do, sometimes it start with a conversation with Chukapo. So I tell Chukapo I have an idea. Technically, the initial idea was just to do a video format of informing people that we're about to cancel all events that we had advertised. After doing that, that video never even came out, as a matter of fact. It came out in the form of The Vaccine. So we decided to do a virtual show. I was the one that came up with the whole vaccine name. It's so funny now that The Vaccine is what The Vaccine is what is being promoted more than anything else in order to help take us out of the situation that we're in as it relates to COVID. But the vaccine is what helped to keep me sane, helped to keep me motivated, keep us creative. After doing that, there were so many virtual shows that I was seeing around, and we had talks. Come over here. Sorry. Excuse me. There were even discussions about how we could monetize it, because every single one of us were volunteers. You had Desi involved, Chukapo, Ike, Lucas was at the first one, Ajayi, J Black, AJ.
AJ,
yeah. What am I forgetting? AJ eventually onboarded Azim when he was doing the bands.
Yeah.
And then we got Stashio Studio. So it's I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Oh, how could I forget the hosts? Kylo and Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm not forgetting anyone now, right?
I think so.
Well, everybody else would have had a role to play,
Yes.
based on who came in under who. So I had my assistants, J Black, Chukapo. Everybody brought somebody to the team. But at the end of the day, the vaccine became something that we didn't even really anticipate it would be. So we were clocking well over 3,000 people looking at us live online, and that for us was a good indication that we were doing something right. We're heading in the right direction. We were providing people with information from artists, from ministers of government, from the NEOC and the task force and so forth. So during COVID, I had the opportunity to be outside a bit. The funny thing is, when the PM first announced the lockdown, I remember Chukapo and AJ came, woke me up, it was early in the morning, and they were like, we got a problem. Okay, well, the problem is, so they said we have to shut down. So I'm like, okay, so that means we have to cancel the virtual show. So AJ said he had a bright idea, and I was wondering, okay, well, what his bright idea was. So he said, well, I got a house, we could put the studio in the front room. The only thing is we're going to go sleep there because the lockdown won't start. Okay, cool, no problem. But how we going to get the entertainers to do this with us? So I call Ike, I call Sparry, I think Tewato.
Yeah, Tewa.
And everybody was game, you know what I mean? And for me, that was a blessing. So people had no clue where we were doing this thing from. And we kind of sneak around a bit until we got some official passes. Sneak around a bit until we get some official passes. So I think it was the second episode. Everybody actually bunk out in a house, in an undisclosed area, just so that we could do the vaccine for thousands of people to watch. And it was a good experience, a good vibe. That kind of spin off into some opportunities for all of us just from doing that free initiative. So COVID was a blessing and a curse, long story short.
So I'm realizing that the theme here was that you guys really tried to make the best of the circumstances and really tried to become, create new products and new initiatives from the circumstances that we were dealt with.
Most definitely.
So, Ike, I know you said, for example, you realize COVID exposed the little value that persons really have on the entertainment industry. Where do you think that mentality comes from? Like, people just don't really see the value in it, yet they party, they enjoy the fetes and all these different social activities surrounding that. People are getting jobs from it, but yet it's you still realize that people didn't really value or ascribe the necessary value to it. Where do you think that came from, or why that is?
Well, we were indoctrinated into it. From the time you hit preschool, primary school, high school, even tertiary level education, it's ingrained as to why we don't consider entertainment as something being a real job. I mean, from the time you hit school, they tell you that you got to get your education and get a job. Or as a doctor, a lawyer, teacher, something, but never entertainment. You know? And so you can't really blame the people who don't value it so much. You got to blame the people who put the education system together, the curriculum together. And if you look at where these curriculum come from, in places like even as much as England, where it come from, because I really don't know, because at this point I really don't care either. But all I know is it's throwing out. You need revamping. And if you're not going to throw it out, at least add to it. You know, that, you know, being in entertainment is really, really and truly a successful thing, you know. I mean, just look at all our lives. I mean, if you want to look at past people, like, let's say Ronnie Rascal. You ever see Ronnie Rascal work anywhere else except entertainment? And this man has been able to acquire all the things that doctors, lawyers, and teachers have, even sometimes even more than them.
Yeah.
You understand? And that is entertainment. But if it is not taught to you that it is to respect it as something that is a real job, you can't know what you don't know, and you can't practice what you don't know.
Facts.
So I think going forward, we need to at least teach that. You know, they used to teach it in school. I'm sure you learn pan somewhere about in school, right? But it was just like, you know, a little sideway thing, like a little hobby. You understand? And now he got his own business, and I sure he making more money than his teacher. I sure he making more money than a lawyer. Well, some lawyers. You understand? Or just as much. And so, if you teach it, people will know it and people will understand it, because not everybody is academically inclined. And sometimes the people who aren't academically inclined, we don't really have a place for them, so to speak. They fall off the grid. They become a problem for the state. But I'm saying, if they really want to reform the education system, they need to look at it holistically and from a very broad spectrum. It's not just books and maths and science. You got notes. You understand? You even have the business side of the entertainment. So if you don't want to go into, let's say, somebody's office to sit down behind a computer all day long dealing with things that you really and truly ain't interested in, you could sit down in somebody's office managing an entertainment person or company. You know, so it all come back down to education.
No, you see, the thing is, if we have to be fair, so in the studio, I have 4 gentlemen who have done exceptionally well. Your success is probably not the same across the board for your other counterparts.
In terms of what?
In terms of, is every DJ in St. Kitts making money like how EK is making money?
No.
Okay.
Let me interject real quick, if you don't mind. Okay, so Ike mentioned the school system and the respect for people in the entertainment industry. The reality is, music is actually taught in school, right? And if somebody comes out of school and they choose to pursue anything in a musical career, sadly, it's almost like, well, what? Right? I went to school, right? I went to college, and I have a degree in marketing, I have a degree in economics. Don't use None of them right now. The job that
You
I had-
sure?
No, I was-
Marketing?
well, I use marketing personally,
Yeah.
right? And let me put it this way. When I say I don't really use them, I mean in terms of probably they are part of my income, right? But in terms of in an office or whatever, people are taught that's the only place that these things could be applied, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So you come out of school, your passion was actually music, and if you now want to be a sound engineer or something of that nature, you almost feel as if the business that you're going into or the industry that you're going into isn't really one that people appreciate or respect until they realize, hey, you recognize when the place was completely locked down, everybody wanted a level of entertainment.
Yeah.
Whether it was Netflix, whether it was DJs, music, whatever it was, a live show. And now we outside. Now we finally get the chance to go outside a restaurant. First thing they want is a DJ by the bar, right? You want a party, you want these things to go to. So the value of entertainment, sadly, just isn't necessarily viewed up front, but I feel like people appreciate it, right? You can mention the powers that be and all of these things. Technically, if you ask me, I think they understand the value of entertainment when it is necessary, though. Because, I mean, who invests the most in entertainment in St. Kitts and Nevis? Ain't Cane Juice, ain't Inception, ain't White Sands, ain't none of the major events. It's government. The most expensive undertaking in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of a private investment in entertainment. First start with Music Festival, then you have Carnival, you have sports such as CPL and all these things. So all of these sports is entertainment too,
Yeah.
right?
But do other people have the resources of the government to take on the initiatives like the government?
Well, not necessarily, but that's where you have players in the market such as ourselves, right? And I think the issue really is, and I could understand where Ike coming from, because during the time like such as COVID right now, entertainment get hit the hardest, right? The hardest. You have, forget St. Kitts, outside of St. Kitts, you have artists, forget the artists now. Let's talk about the engineers, the lightsman, the person who's setting up stage, the production guys, the vendors, the people, people in St. Kitts and Nevis depend on something happening on the weekend for the business. Store owners, hairdressers,
Makeup
nail
art-
techs,
yeah.
makeup artists, all of these people who are not, and technically we take a strain off the government because government can't employ everybody, right? So people turn to self-employment initiatives in order for them to survive. And guess what? When there's a function, this creates the business flow. This creates velocity. Money is in the economy. Let's talk about Nevis real quick, right? I go to Nevis on a regular. Over there on a weekend time, the bars, the restaurants, and so forth, what you would call a club down at Penny's Beach, whatever. People down there being entertained, and that is business. Take away that for a moment. You'll have a sinking ship right now in terms of the economy, right? Let's say right now the government is saying every single pan knock, no music, no nothing, no entertainment. Right now, the economy will come to its knees.
So you believe that entertainment has, let me ask you, would you say that entertainment has filled or
Void?
yes, the
Entertainment.
void left by tourism?
Of course it is currently playing a role. Like, how significant? Not that much, because we don't have the outside. I mean, like I said, you think tourists come here just to go in a hotel room? No. What make you think you have so much safari trucks now instead of a regular taxi bus? The noise, it's like a party on the road. You're going around the island, you're seeing the scenes and all of these things with some music for you to enjoy. There's a DJ at every beach bar. There's music playing, right? Tourists come here to be entertained, not just to relax. So entertainment, and it's not just St. Kitts, right? And for me, St. Kitts is a very unique destination because it's a federation. We got a mixture of tranquility, relaxation, entertainment.
All right. Well, I'll switch to True Capo here because Fons just brought up something I think it's very noteworthy. So since COVID-19, we have been left with a huge void since we don't have the tourists coming in, and we recognize that so much of our GDP is based on that. you said you've done videos relating to COVID. You have your movie, and everybody has seen. I think everybody has seen at least one piece of your work.
Yeah.
Like, as a videographer and video director, like, how do you see your role in terms of packaging the island? Have you seen? Do you believe that your role in that regard is making an impact? I just want to know what you think.
Yeah, my role definitely makes an impact because I film stuff. Yeah, so how to put it? I film stuff, so I make it so you could see it on the internet. So, and especially how does edit, produce my stuff is like high quality, and persons will actually like be interested in seeing something like that. If it's low quality, people will be like,
We come a long way, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
Remember what videos used to look like?
Yeah, back then it used to be 480, now it's 4K, you know. But definitely my role plays an impact on what people see. Like I said, I do stuff for tourism. So for the past couple of months, I've been doing some what do I call it, some stuff for them. I can't remember what it be, but I'm doing some stuff for them.
So much stuff you can't even remember.
Yeah, trust me. I mean, every week, yeah, I'm doing something. Every week I'm doing something.
So then you guys are happy, and
Yeah.
if I think maybe if the listeners are listening, it sounds like, you know, you guys are good. We don't really need to be talking about entertainment then, since, you know, everybody's doing so well.
Where was
So-
everybody?
No,
You say that about it. You say, I mean,
no.
You see-
So that's what I want to know, because
Okay,
I'm
who's on
thinking,
this?
listening.
It's a video before.
Yeah, before. But Jan,
people ask how
the point is that oftentimes you hear quote unquote high society people and certain people who want to be a part of that ilk, who trying to be a part of it or trying to appease them, would say things like, oh, they're lazy, oh, they just want to party.
Oh boy.
It goes a lot deeper than that.
There's
It's
so
a
much
lot
involved
That's
in
a
these
slap in a lot
things.
of business people face.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you see-
Even Rams was selling liquor, but go ahead.
Right. I mean,
Even around
even
the-
the people
I should
who
have got stopped
actually
when I move.
make use of what entertainment creates and feeds was spitting on it and didn't even understand. And that was the most hurtful part about the whole thing,
Facts.
about how they were talking about entertainment. You understand? They use it because they understand the power of it. They know the power of it, you know. Don't kid yourself, you know. They know the power and the purpose of entertainment, because human beings, whether you like it or not, we need entertainment. Just like
we
how
do.
we need a hospital, just like how we need food, we need entertainment as well in order to become a wholesome human being. And if you take away that aspect, you end up with stress, which could kill you.
Crazy, yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? You cannot function properly, even if you don't go to a party just to say, oh, just to walk up your whatever. Even if you sit at home in your living room and listen to some jazz
Yeah.
and drink a glass of wine,
Yeah.
it's entertainment.
You know, I think what happens is that we have so many fetes and boat rides and all these different things that people have an idea of what entertainment is, and they think because they don't go to those events that what they consider entertainment is different. So so you might say, oh, I like jazz, so I ain't really interested in hearing Akai or seeing Akai at no fete. But you don't realize jazz and Akai is the same
It's
thing.
an
Same
artist,
person.
yeah.
It's
just a
the
different
same
genre of
thing.
music, and if you respect that artist, well, you can respect Akai.
Exactly.
You
So
understand?
it's the same exact thing. Somebody might want to go out on a boat ride with you know, DJs, as opposed to somebody might go with a live band or acoustic band or something. It is all the same thing, but I think because they tend to see more events for you know, not what they would go to or they would support, that they think that, you know, they'll look down
But it's
on that.
classism. It's classism, and you're socialized into it. For instance, you have what you call ghetto bashment dancehall parties. That is for a certain type of people, so to speak. Boy, you see some highfalutin people inside
Oh,
there.
yes. Oh, yes.
They probably want you to see them, but they'll be in there. And then you have the bougie parties where people who want to be of a certain ilk they go to.
And wine and cheese.
Yeah, and not even some wine and cheese when they're behind the enclosing the environment. They're in there rocking out like the wallers. Them
Oh yeah,
just like in the dance.
entertainment and partying, regardless of who you're appealing to,
Regardless.
it's
Right.
the same type of
It's the
behavior you
same-
get.
It's the same type of
Trust
thing.
me.
And I think that people need to respect it more and understand it more. Sometimes when people book me for an event and I'm trying to walk them through, mind you, they want to have an event, but they have no idea what it entails. Me know all of this saying it by
Yeah.
You understand?
Lighting and all sorts
the
of.
speakers. So
Yeah.
so and
Cleaning
so,
up, don't forget that.
I'm
part.
about to talk about
That
the
is an
cleaning up
industry
after.
on its own. Yeah.
You know, one time I did a function for, and I'm gonna call her name, for the tourism authority, the awards that they do every year, and there was this lady over there, and her thing is that she wants over there to look good. She just wants it to look good. It don't matter. You just have to look good and look appealing. And I'm like, so when it looks good, how you want it to sound? She like, well, the sound gonna come out. I said, sweetheart, if you put those speakers in the back where you can't see them, how you gonna hear them? And you're gonna cause an even bigger problem because your event gonna look good, but you're gonna sound like trash.
And that will impact the overall experience. by
And
the
she
way.
didn't understand that. But mind you,
Yeah.
she's well qualified.
You qualified in what though?
I'm sure that's the same one we went to.
Yes. She's utterly
No.
qualified and accomplished.
You
It's
know
a
what Ika just
businesswoman.
says important? Like, you see sound coverage. That is such an important part of events, right? When Cooler Fed started to expand, one year I was walking through the crowd I think it was in the park at the time. And as I was going back further, I was getting more complaints. Fans been feeling the vibes. Can't hear good. This and that. It was only for me then I understood, like, you know what? These people need more sound, right? That means that just like music festival, after you pass a certain threshold in numbers, you need to upgrade in your sound. Because if I have an additional 1,000 people coming and they ain't feeling the vibe because the music ain't hitting them, they ain't coming back here.
That's true. And they can tell other people don't go back.
Which
either.
means that's bad reviews, which
Yeah.
means that we had to now go and source an even bigger sound system. You can now we go.
Yeah.
But
Even on the road, you ever realize, right, that when a band passing, you got people who partying, and then you got people who just walking.
Yeah.
The ones who walking can't feel the vibe. That's really it. And it's the same thing in an event. When you walk into an event, even if it is a dinner awards, if the sound is not good, when the person talking on the mic saying who just win this award, what sense it make? You can't hear.
Yeah.
Unless you're to the front, you can't hear.
I'm just going to say that too, because even now, this session here, if sound wasn't on point,
Yeah.
then this whole thing ain't make sense.
People
Persons
gonna tune out.
outside, and be
People
like,
gonna
"Man,
tune out."
yeah, you know.
That's so true.
And there's
So
a person responsible for the sound, by the way, and he has a job in entertainment.
So I think then one of the things that needs to happen so far coming out of this discussion is we need to break down entertainment and show people the multi-layered value that it brings because entertainment isn't, well, I guess it might be the same like in agriculture. We all know we have to eat. And we all know we have to be entertained, but we still don't value the work that goes into getting the final product. Yeah.
If I could say something, Ike said something earlier about the education and the respect, and I want us to look at it in a simple way. He started categorizing in terms of jobs, the payments and the assets and stuff like that. Entertainers versus the lawyers and the. I tell people this, it's simple. If you want to talk about money, then we gotta talk about entertainment. The richest people in the world are entertainers. Not the doctors, not the lawyers, not the government ministers, the president ain't even in the league. the president of the United States
Yeah, he don't
with
make
the
no money.
job. He don't make money.
Politicians actually don't make that.
Right. So when we are forcing persons,
They don't make it a team.
Salaries. Salaries
Teeth
we're
it
talking about.
I just want to say that I wasn't here.
so when we force persons to go in that doctor field and all that, oh, music ain't nothing. Music ain't nothing, but you're gonna buy an album online for 20-something US a month and
Pay Netflix
and
every
pay
month.
Netflix.
Just don't even talk about the music. Talk
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so simple if you look at it. Why don't you respect the same thing here locally that you will spend hundreds of dollars for, thousands a year?
They won't open up that kind of homes.
No, we have to. Right? We have to speak about it. That is a way of educating the people
True.
here. That is how you're going to respect it. Let all the entertainers sit down, free will, here in St. Kitts. Just don't do nothing. The government ain't stopping us. But
Yeah.
you're going to see how much they come in. Ah, Lord, come help us out now.
I tell you,
And
you
that
get
kind
them-
of thing. But,
The man ain't listening.
yeah.
Just take a sabbatical because at that time we were getting a lot of pressure from honestly the task force has tried their best to accommodate us to some extent, right? For me, it could have been better in terms of capacity limits because you're looking at things that just don't really like. I put on a mask to enter an open restaurant and then take it off, but then in an event you want people to wear masks for the entire time. 150 as a capacity, even if it's an acre of land, for example. But then other businesses could have 500 people inside of a building. It's almost like that just goes to show the level of understanding or lack of respect that it is for people in the industry. So when you're trying to do a function, for example, mind you, if COVID is here, we ain't doing nothing. I stand by that 100%. If you're being told that it isn't, right? I'm not talking about now, even back then before the borders were open, it was such a hard conversation to try to get them to understand, look, with the parameters and the procedures they are putting in place, allow us numbers that would make sense to business. Because I seen a lot of parties right now, I haven't done anything in a while, and people losing because you basically doing something to break even. I don't know if you can get pay. Because I know so much event organizers are somebody who trying a party and by the time they done the work where even though people was there, they ain't really make no money because the threshold doesn't allow for,
Capacity.
okay.
Well,
Good business.
I could tell you that most of the events that I go to, which is boat rides, the people ain't really doing it to make a profit, They're just doing it because they want to have some fun. They want to have some form of entertainment. It's a special time and they're celebrating, so they just do it.
Okay. Also, so people celebrating birthdays
So
and
people
so forth.
celebrating.
Yeah.
You understand?
So ain't necessarily for the business.
And, to add to the conversation on a deeper level, when governments, so to speak, and, big business people want to do something to attract people to their product, entertainment is the go-to. You have videos, you have DJs, you have bands. Entertainment is the go-to to get people to come together. So they know that. What they don't know is the intricacies of how entertainment actually works. Now, Fan said that the task force was trying to be accommodative. But I think if the task force had an entertainment consultant who understands the business, the ins and outs, who understands the entertainers, to consult with before they went ahead and put their things in place, it would have bode well for them. Even more so the government. I mean, all of us backflip when we hear the announcement that we're going to have an entertainment industry, entertainment ministry. And I express, I welcome it, but I wasn't doing the backflip like everybody else because I understand who these people are and how they work and how they operate. I know it wasn't going to go nowhere, and it's still not going nowhere. Until I see it go somewhere. Only then they're going to backflip. But you got to understand the business, and you need people to explain it to you. I didn't expect Abdiel Samuel to understand it. What Abdiel said?
Oh gosh.
You understand? So I didn't expect him to understand. I mean, you show up to a function that is all that you know. You don't see the behind the scenes. And I think that's where the whole conversation about the entertainment ministry came up, because the Prime Minister was right there next to through Capo and all these man, he see the lights going up because he was actually present at the set, you know.
Yeah, he was fascinated.
Yeah.
And he didn't
Probably wouldn't
realize-
have that exposure
No.
without COVID, eh?
Because he just to show up and go on
We
stage.
had to go fully virtual. So
You had to go
he-
virtual, so he
was
had to
there.
be there right next to the people who actually giving him the platform
But
and
he said, you know,
creating the
Igor,
vibes. Right, he
the
did.
man said, I never know this thing so sweet.
You understand?
You remember when
I remember that.
he said so? I never know this thing so
I
sweet.
think the push to take us serious should have been better.
Right.
You understand? It should have been better as opposed to being dismissive and the kind of things that they were saying. I mean, you had people abusing, oh, they just want to go party. And this time, one of their best friends is a hairdresser.
He's a hairdresser.
How
Oh, you do that?
Yeah. I just want to read a comment that I just got, and we have to break for the news after that. She told me not to call her name. She just said, "Great discussion. I was thinking that the guys should not use up too much energy worrying about what they think. You are in a great business. You have to satisfy the clients. You have to continue working and thinking daily and nightly to achieve your goal. Your business is you. Press on. Business success comes in the fullness of time with consistency, determination, and stick-to-itness. Say what you require of the powers and make your request to them. All other stuff is you. Worry not about respect. Just press on." So you guys are getting some support.
That's deep.
And so we're going to, I guess we have to take a break soon, but the sound engineer is also working outside. And because I don't have that skill, we have to wait till he comes back. But Capo, I wanted to get from you specifically, we're going to shift the focus now about making this, making things better. How do we know, what do we now need to see to make our entertainment industry better so that we can maximize the full economic, social potential from the film industry? I just want to get some thoughts from you because I believe you'll be leaving us in a while. But
Okay. For film in particular, I mean, you got really put support behind us, direct. I mean, I shot my film like 5 years ago, and like asking for sponsorship was like the hardest thing. Yeah, it was like the hardest thing, and imagine some people come from the UK, and the setup shop's so easy here. You know, I pressing on for years, trying to do this thing, and because, you know,
Like an accent.
yeah, probably they got a little accent. Mind you, I was working on this film set in Nevis for like 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. I quit. I quit. I ended up quit because the energy wasn't feeling it, and I felt disrespected. Yeah, maybe we're not getting that, but I felt disrespected and I quit. But how they getting set up in so quick for them over there, you know? They get 20, they're getting discount when they buy this, no matter where they go. I mean, for me now, if I want something and they ask for a discount, it's like,
Who will you be?
you know what
I mean, the government even went into the assembly to create laws
yeah.
to accommodate these people, you know, to structure
I
it
really
for them,
want
you
to
know.
know what you think about that, Capo, but we're gonna break
What
for
did you
for the midday news,
Okay.
and we will be back shortly.
All right.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services 9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines, Marine Resources to host Mo Reef for coral restoration training. Anguilla mourns the passing of former Chief Minister Hubert Benjamin Hughes. Internationally, explosions near a school in the Afghan capital Kabul on Saturday killed at least 25 people and wounded dozens more, the Interior Minister said. Now, the details. The Integrating Water, Land and Ecosystems Management in Caribbean Small Island Developing States, in collaboration with the Ecosystem Management Division of the Department of Marine Resources, is hosting a 2-week training session. The public is invited to participate in the 2-week training session according to a release from the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources. The project is a 5-year regional project that addresses water, land, and biodiversity resource management as well as climate change. Marine biologist with the Department of Marine Resources, Tricia King, explained that the session, referred to as Mo Reef for Coral Restoration Training, focuses on a design for artificial reefs and noted how adding more reefs in St. Kitts and Nevis enhances food security, stating, "The reefs serve the same purpose as a naturally occurring reef, where it provides homes for different types of marine life. It also supports the increase of fish stock around the area, and so that way it eventually supports food security as we eat marine creatures," end quote. The aim of the project is to build reef resilience to hurricanes and strong storms, which could help to increase ecological improvements in the marine environment, according to King. The experts on the design are from Saba and conducted a recent installation in Kenya. Now St. Kitts will be added to the list of countries that have more reefs in our waters. The More Reef training session will run for a period of 2 weeks on Mondays and Wednesdays. The training begins Monday, May 10th and runs from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. via Zoom. Interested individuals wishing to join the training are asked to contact the Department of Marine Resources.
The recent uptick in domestic tourism is giving a much-needed boost to the Nevis economy. That is according to Premier Mark Brantley, Minister of Tourism in the Nevis Island Administration NIA, speaking on his weekly radio talk show On The Mark on May 5th, 2021. He said, "We here on the island of Nevis have sent out a clarion call to our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts to come over to Nevis for weekends to enjoy what we call a staycation, to learn this island which is part of their country. Our Nevis Tourism Authority has reached out time and time again. We started last year around the Culturama period and we've continued for every occasion. We've just come out for a long weekend and we did it again. Let me take a moment to say thank you to the people of St. Kitts because you have responded in large numbers to that call." Brantley shared that this past holiday weekend he encountered many young persons from St. Kitts at the Pinnis Beach who said that they were having a good time and enjoying the hospitality of Nevis. The Premier has once again extended an invitation to Kittitians to visit Nevis for the upcoming Mother's Day, May 9th weekend and the Whit Monday, May 24th holiday weekend. Likewise, Brantley encouraged persons on Nevis to visit St. Kitts and patronize its restaurants, hotels, attractions, and events. The Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, Junior Minister of Health in the Nevis Island Administration NIA, has declared Nurses Week 2021 open. On Monday, May 10th, 2021, an educational forum dubbed Careers in the Medical Profession with emphasis on nursing will be held. This will take place at the Cotton Ground Health Center at 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 11th, Fruit and Water Day and Nurses Annual Walk at 5 p.m. starting point at the Alexandra Hospital. Wednesday 12th, International Nurses Day, and this day is a T-shirt day as well, and in the evening the church service will be held at the Bath New Testament Church at 7 p.m. Thursday 13th, Movie Night at Lime Beach Bar. On Friday 14th, Paint, Sip and Snack. This event will take place at the Jessops Community Center at 7 p.m. Saturday 15th, Recognition Ceremony and Cocktail at the Nevis Performing Arts Center. On Sunday 16th, the curtains come down on this very important week with a beachnik at Pinnis Beach.
Former Chief Minister of Anguilla, the Honorable Hubert Hughes, passed away at the age of 87. Hubert Benjamin Hughes was born on October 15, 1933, in the village of South Hill, Anguilla. The late Honorable Hubert Benjamin Hughes was first elected to the Anguilla House of Assembly 45 years ago in 1976. He served as Chief Minister from 1994 to 1999, 1999 to 2000, and 2010 to 2015. Quote, "With a political career spanning approximately 40 years, Mr. Hughes is one of Anguilla's most revered political leaders. The people of Anguilla will forever be grateful for his contribution to the development of our beloved island," said Anguilla's Premier Dr. Ellis Webster as he joined Anguillians in paying tribute to Hughes. Last October, the government and people of Anguilla celebrated the life and legacy of the Honorable Hubert Benjamin Hughes, immortalizing him on his 87th birthday with a road naming ceremony in South Hill, Hubert Benjamin Hughes Drive. Prime Minister of St. Kitts, Dr. Timothy Harris, extended sympathy to the people of Anguilla on the passing of Hubert Benjamin Hughes. Quote, "Chief Minister Hughes was an amiable personality, full of life, a patriot of Anguilla and deeply, passionately connected to the country and people of St. Kitts and Nevis," Harris said on May 7th. He continued, "On behalf of the government and people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I extend my most profound condolences to his beloved wife, children, family, friends, and fellow citizens of Anguilla. May he rest in eternal peace." End quote. Further stating that Hughes led an impactful life, rich in experience, friendship, leadership, love, and service, leaving a legacy of influence on Angola's political and socio-economic development. Hubert Benjamin Hughes is survived by his wife, Norma Hughes, and his children, Hayden and Greg Hughes.
In news from Jamaica, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is reiterating that the AstraZeneca vaccine cannot give someone the SARS-CoV virus that causes COVID-19. In an interview with Jamaica Observer, Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Melody Ennis, pointed out that the virus is not in the vaccine. This vaccine does not have the live virus, the weakened virus, or any part of the virus at all. What it has is the genetic code, so it's just a code of a piece of the spike protein, nothing of the virus at all. So if the virus is not in it, it is not part of it. If it is not made up from it, then it cannot give it to us at all, so you cannot get the virus from the vaccine, she emphasized. Dr. Ennis said there are a few things to consider when looking at where some level of confusion may come in with a vaccinated person getting the virus. When you take the first dose of the vaccine, you have to wait anywhere between 21 and 28 days before you begin to get protection. During that period, you can contract the virus and therefore you can test positive. So that's one way you can test positive after you've received the vaccine, but it's not the vaccine giving it to you, the family health director said. Dr. Ennis pointed out that another possibility of a vaccinated person testing positive is that he or she could have had the virus before getting the vaccine, but was asymptomatic. She added that if the person never showed any symptoms, then took the vaccine, then did the test, then they would return a positive result. In more news from Jamaica, the government's plan to amend the Child Care and Protection Act 2004 to remove the provision under which a child deemed uncontrollable can be placed in a correctional facility by the court is being supported by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. Education, Youth and Information Minister Favour Williams recently announced that a cabinet submission has been drafted to amend Section 24 of the Child Care and Protection Act, under which a judge may make a correctional order in respect of a child brought before the court. According to Williams, the amendment will remove the discretion of judges to place children who have not committed a crime in penal institutions and replace it with an option for the court to make a therapeutic order. The proposed amendment received the approval of Janet Qualo, Child Protection Specialist at UNICEF, during this week's Jamaica Observer Monday exchange. Qualo argued that some people are of the view that a correctional facility is the solution for a child who displays uncontrollable behavior. We find sometimes that some people think that a child who is acting out just needs a good lick, or they need to be locked up in a juvenile correctional center, or think that a few months in a juvenile correctional center will straighten them out, said Qualo. Very often, kids who end up in juvenile correctional centers are abused children who are experiencing mental health problems. It is a complicated issue and one which requires us to change our thinking and our attitudes about what mental health really is, added Qualo.
In regional news,
as protest action continues for public workers' 4% salary increase, the Grenada Union of Teachers has served official notice to the Ministry of Education on Thursday morning, informing their employer that as of May 17th, teachers would be having their lunch hours outside school compounds. The notice stated that the Ministry of Education, parents and the general public should note that as of Monday, May 17th, all members with the exception of those at the preschool level will be having their 1 hour lunch outside the school's compound until further notice. It went on to explain the Employment Act, which speaks to meal intervals, which states that no employer should require an employee to work for more than 5 hours continuously without meal interval or not less than an hour, or to perform any work during the meal intervals without consent from the employee. In a recent media interview, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell called on trade union representatives to exercise patience with government regarding its inability to pay the increment at this time. He explains that only one that will be suffering is the nation's children.
We're going to make it. We're going to meet you. We're going to help. We're going to do what we have to do. You think I want to see a pastor teacher and to see his face round up in front of me? I'm not happy to see that. I want them to be all smiling. So I hope we can do that not long from now. I'm looking forward to this. But let us all work together. Don't use our children negatively for that. If you have a problem with Keith Mitchell, deal with him politically and otherwise. Don't use our children. They're not responsible for what the decision of the central government. I just ask them, just let's work together.
Public officers remained adamant that they will not relent until their 4% salary increase owed to them by government since January of this year is paid to them. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
We now bring you these international reports.
Let's go back now to our breaking news out of Afghanistan, where at least 25 people have been killed. Let's speak to Filio Contrafori, who joins us live on the phone from Kabul. Filio, tell me what more you know.
Well, Nick, the attack happened around 5:30 p.m. Kabul time. This is the time when students were finishing their classes and were heading home, and we're talking about hundreds of students attending schools at that time. According to eyewitnesses, there were 3 explosions that happened back-to-back at that time. Again, this according to eyewitnesses, and they were talking about girls who were panicking. They started running around crying, calling for their mothers, and as others were trying to transfer as many as they could to hospitals. And I have to tell you, even that is an uphill battle here in Kabul because big parts of the city have been without electricity for the second day after ISIL attacked power lines and claimed responsibility. There are already some extremely graphic pictures from the area of the attack going around with charred bodies and school notebooks scattered in the area of the attack, which happened in Dastabachi. This is in western Kabul, which is a predominantly Hazara area with Shias, an area that has seen many attacks in recent years, and ISIL has claimed responsibility for most of them, Nick.
Right, yes, we need to put this in context of recent attacks and indeed the ongoing U.S. troop withdrawal.
Absolutely, and we have to remember that it was only a few days ago that there was another attack that bears some signs of what happened an hour ago, and that was in Logar when there was this powerful truck bomb that literally leveled, because we did go there and we did see with our own eyes, a guest house where dozens of high school students were staying and they were waiting to take their university exams. So this is a very tense time, and we see that attacks not only are increasing, but the targets now are high school students and innocent civilians that are being killed every single day in these bomb attacks. Nick?
Filio, thanks for that. Filio Contrafori there, reporting from Kabul, where at least 25 people have died after multiple blasts in the capital. And explosions happened near a school, as she was reporting, in the area of Dasht-e-Bashi in western Kabul. We'll bring you more on that just as soon as we get it.
The water shortage being suffered by this small island off the coast of mainland China could have a global impact. Taiwan's reservoirs, normally fed by summer rains and typhoon storms, lie parched, producing the worst drought in more than half a century.
Last year, 2020, was the first time in 56 years that we didn't have a typhoon passing through. As an island state, that's our main source of water.
The impact is being felt island-wide, including Taiwan's water-hungry semiconductor industry. Like other companies, TSMC, the world's biggest contract producer of microprocessors, is making up the shortfall by trucking in water. But while one tanker carries 20 tons, the company needs 200,000 tons of water daily.
In addition to water trucks, there's more recycling. In the short term, it's not a big problem, but it is an uncertainty in the coming quarter.
And it's an uncertainty that adds to a global shortage of microchips, as companies in Taiwan and here in South Korea have tried to increase production to meet the demands of changing lifestyles caused by the pandemic, and that's led to hold-ups in tech-hungry industries like car manufacturing. Back in Taiwan, President Tsai Ing-wen has called for greater efforts to source and conserve water while visiting the hardest-hit central part of the island, where high-tech industries compete with local communities for dwindling supplies.
We will try our best to keep people's lives from being disturbed too much, and at the same time to reduce the impact on Taichung's industries.
But farmers have also come up with their own solution as they look ahead to what should be the bountiful rains of spring and summer. Prayers and offerings to the sea goddess Mazu, thought in Chinese culture to hold sway over their fortunes. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Seoul.
Nepal's capital of Kathmandu is in lockdown, and its hospitals are struggling to cope with the surge in people infected by coronavirus.
Our emergency room had 5 beds, but now we have 25 beds. We have added 20 beds in our emergency room. Until now, we have not returned anyone from here without providing them with oxygen, but the situation is getting complicated.
Near the border with India, more workers from Nepal are arriving home from Indian cities stricken by COVID-19, and that's adding to the health crisis. Staff in hospitals are forced to turn away patients as beds and medical supplies are in short supply. And many cremation sites are filling up as families say goodbye to their loved ones from a distance. Northeast of Kathmandu, an increasing number of climbers arriving for the spring climbing season on Everest are testing positive and being evacuated.
We try not to mingle. We used to have a lot of fun at base camp and would sing and dance, but we're not doing any of that now, and we're only speaking to those in our teams.
With the coronavirus outbreak in neighboring India growing, Nepal is suspending international flights, and travelers like Raju Rajbangshi are rushing to leave.
I'm very lucky to be able to take a flight on the last day of them operating. I'm so glad I'll be able to leave Nepal, where COVID-19 is getting really bad.
Domestic flights were also halted earlier this week, and the government has announced other measures to curb the COVID crisis. They include finding more space to store the bodies of COVID patients who've died and diverting oxygen cylinders from industrial use to hospitals. Funds are also being allocated to build oxygen plants, and lockdowns in and around Kathmandu are being extended by a week. But health experts say all this has come too late, and the Red Cross is warning that Nepal could face a worsening humanitarian catastrophe. Ramyata Limbu, Al Jazeera, Kathmandu.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were Marine Resources to host MoReef for coral restoration training. Anguilla mourns the passing of former Chief Minister Hubert Benjamin Hughes. Internationally, explosions near a school in the Afghan capital Kabul on Saturday killed at least 25 people and wounded dozens more, the Interior Minister said. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The WinFM Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
People make the world go
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
All right, and we're back. Thank you for sticking with us, or thank you for joining us. If you weren't here for the first part of the discussion, this is Inside the News, being hosted today by Alarm Clock in partnership with Win Media SKN. And today we are talking about restructuring the economy post-COVID-19, and today's focus is on the entertainment industry. Now, I know I won't have all of my panelists for the next part of the show, so I just want to quickly mention that we have the capacity to take your calls today. The last four numbers of the number is 0989, so you can call 662, 762, or 466. So 662-762-466, and the number is 0989 if you want to have your views a part of the discussion. Now, True Capo, I have a comment here about the film industry, and I would like your feedback. In praising, the comment is read Nevis's film industry. In praising the benefits to Nevis, Premier Brantley stated that 170 Nevisians were involved as extras, and that 7 residents were given speaking roles. Imagine, roles as extras for Nevisians, speaking roles for residents. What's your feedback to that comment? That we had the benefits of the film industry were limited to 170 Nevisians as extras, and 7 lucky people were chosen to have speaking roles.
I mean, that's good for them, to be honest, you know. I mean, it's a job, they're getting paid for it, you know. They're getting paid for it, so that's good that they.
But is that the benefit? What do you see the benefits like? If you had, what do you see the benefits of the film industry to St. Kitts and Nevis being outside of speaking roles for a handful of persons and people being extras?
Being extra, you're just in the background. Nobody even notice you. But being an extra at times, you're just there sitting down, doing nothing, just doing the same movement over and over and over. But the speaking roles, I mean, it's good to add on your resume, you know. So going forward, if you want to, like acting something else, you got that on your resume to say, well, acting this film, acting that film. But it also plays the success of the film also plays to that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But generally, what other benefits are we just going to be limited to that? Are we just building a film industry for us to do that?
Well, let me help you out here. I think what has to happen now in order for us to reap any bigger benefits is that we now have to formalize acting or introduce serious acting into a repertoire as a destination. You understand? People got to take acting classes, go they need to go to get certified in acting, and so they would be available for more major roles and a bigger pay. So it could be a thing, but we now have to go onto the groundwork from our own perspective.
Now, what about, you see the same way that you guys broke down, you know, the fets and the concerts and so on earlier about the makeup artists and all these other people, like for the film industry, what sorts of personnel do you really need, and do you think we can provide that here?
Yeah, this person's interested in film here, but we just got the mindset, ain't everybody to hold the camera. A lot of people just want to hold the camera. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff like you have the grip department. That's the person. Those are the persons who basically set up the trolley, the dollies, and the cranes. You have the gaffers, that's lighting. You have first AC, second AC. You have makeup. You have wardrobe. So the film industry could provide tons of jobs. You know, there's carpenters. You need carpenters on set to build certain stuff, to build sets. Again, the camera crew by itself is about 3 to 4 personnel, I think. It's first AC, second AC, cinematographer, and I think there's somebody else. But it could provide jobs by setting up a film industry.
Jobs outside of, the talking roles and being extras.
yeah, basically. But you just got the mindset ain't anybody.
Okay.
Wow,
so
totally
all right. So we'll start the discussion about So now we guys, and we want to be as specific as possible. We want, when we leave this discussion, people understand exactly what kind of things we need to build a strong, economically viable entertainment industry. So for film, what do you see as what do you need? As True Capo, like, what do you need, and what do you see the film industry needs to really become strong?
Money, basically money. I mean, because
access to money.
To money. Yeah, because
easy access to money.
Because once you got the script, then you go through the script, and it's easy to work out how you go about and make it happen. We gotta buy stuff. Definitely, we gotta buy stuff to make these things happen. Especially if you want to get out there, like a Netflix or Amazon or something, you gotta pay for those things. Ain't cheap, ain't cheap. You gotta pay to, like the film festivals that we entered last year. My producer had to pay to enter a couple of them. Ain't us here and the pre-time. We had to pay, and you still had to go through a process to be accepted. We got accepted to a Academy Award film festival. Yeah, and we had to pay for that. We was also thinking to try go on the list for the the big award show, the Oscars.
The Oscars, yeah.
I think it's that. Yeah, you have to pay. You actually have to pay to be on the list.
Academy Awards.
The Academy Award. You have to pay to be on the list. Yeah, but
also, it's not a situation where somebody just see a film and they recommend it. You actually have to pay.
You have to pay, and also you have to be recommended. Like for instance, we could have been on the list if the producer was willing to pay, but the government of St. Kitts and Nevis have to write a letter to the Academy Awards submitting it. So it's a kind of process.
And that didn't happen?
We didn't do it. No, I didn't do it.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Next film definitely we can do it though. Because remember, producer is constantly talking. We constantly talking, but I just don't know how come they want to support us. Imagine my producer has 8 Emmys and an Oscar. Yeah, a well-known producer. I mean, fans met me producer once, twice with fans. So you know who I'm talking about, Augustine.
Oh yes.
You know, yeah, he has credentials to his name, but yet I don't understand why.
Maybe back to the value, perhaps again.
Huh?
EK, maybe is this a value, another value discussion? Because if Capo is now saying he has award-winning support behind him, and he's still not getting that, that's quite unfortunate.
Maybe he ain't talking the right things where the powers that we need to hear in terms of kickbacks and what's not.
Oh boy.
Maybe so.
Well, okay.
Because we don't talk about these things all the time, the support that we actually need for us to grow locally,
Yeah.
And if we're going to formalize entertainment, we're going to have to protect our own people here. Like, for instance, you could have somebody coming in from overseas, and the government is seen rolling out the red carpet for these people. And you here doing the exact same thing, struggling for years, from here, asking for the same support, the same energy, and then you just see somebody waltzing here from wherever they come from, and your government who claim to love you, roll out everything for them, even make moves from a legislative standpoint to actually accommodate these people.
I was just going to ask Capo about that. Being perhaps one of the most notable, if not the most notable, video director and videographer in St. Kitts and Nevis right now, well, at least in my opinion, Ike just mentioned the legislative move, and I believe he's referring to the Nevis Film Industry Ordinance that was passed, I believe, last month.
Yeah.
The move was heralded as the effort of the government to formalize the industry and to really professionalize the industry. Now, did you what are your thoughts on that, or do you even have any thoughts? Are you aware of that, first of all?
To be honest, I saw it in a press release and I was like, how can nobody talk to us about this? Like they just drop it, bam. This is how it's supposed to be now. They consult with none of us who does film. You just, yeah.
Because what they do is they go outside, they see what's happening outside, consult with them, and they say, okay, we're going to run with this. Let's bring it home.
I don't need to consult with anybody. Just stay home and wake up in the minus. Yeah.
We could pursue that and see if we could actually do some investigations. But of course, you would have been one of the people that we asked, being particularly with your recent success.
Yeah, reach out to me.
Yeah, if you really want to energize the local film industry, if that was your focus, then you would want to see how that could be support. Yeah. What about you, MJ? What do you need? You're in Steel Pan. What do you need?
Well, culture on a whole.
Culture, yeah.
Specifically Steel Pan, what do we need? Support locally. I mean, we can hear this over and over. Money is paramount. Yeah, we need it. Is what we do with the money. After all, we could be ready. Chukapo is ready. Ike is ready. But when you don't have the backing of your people, the powers, to say, okay, let me push this. This is our own. Let me push this.
I want specifics, MJ. I want specifics. we got to come out of this flowery language. Specifics.
Okay, so culture here, especially in the Caribbean, St. Kitts, is what persons outside dying for. When I say outside, I'm talking about the Europe and the Americas and them kind of things. It's unique to us here. But we don't seem to respect it enough, or respect the people in the craft enough to say, guys, MJ, Melly, whoever it is in the steel pan industry, I want to create something so powerful that when a steel pan touch the stage anywhere and it's St. Kitts, they're gonna say, wow, this is let me push this energy from St. Kitts. Let's put the money and the effort it needs to get pans, to have persons to tune pans, so we don't have to be sending thousands of dollars to Trinidad to get them.
That's the kind of specifics.
Right, to get them tuned or something that we've been asking for years. Melly Hewlett is getting up in age, and now we have to consider bringing in a tuner from Trinidad or Antigua We got pay for your flight, pay for accommodation, and then pay him $4,000 sometimes US or EC, whichever they're coming from, to tune a band of 20. What about if the band expand? We will be doing that over.
Is there somewhere you could get trained to do this?
Well, I always tell persons, it's something that I've recommend to administration before, and this one. It is a science now. It's something that you have to spend time doing in terms of tuning and making. You have to spend time in it. So, but we have persons here that do not work, that love the artistry, the art form, and willing to go to Trinidad, spend 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to do that. Or you could get the same person down there to come here where it's cheaper because you get more persons trained that way. You come here, get a group of 10 persons who are interested in making, tuning, whatever it is, even chrome, the steel pan. And you train, but we rather pay and send out money and them kind of things. We don't have any choice right now. I can't tune, I can't make. All right, we had Boots, he died, we didn't learn. We have Melly, but again he's getting down in age, can't be mobile like he used to.
Right.
So who else? And I don't think they're seeing that because they overlook culture so much. They ain't seeing us here, but when they want a nice soft music, they're gonna call steel pan. If you're telling your pan tune out, they'll be like, oh, you ain't ready. Oh, you ain't serious about our craft. What do you mean we ain't serious? We here, but it's money. Apparently money rotate everything right now.
Wow.
But
you see, I feel like these kind of stories need to come out so people understand. Because it's one thing to say you want money, and all of us want money. But if we really break down what the money is used for, or what value it could bring in the long term, short to even long term, I think it might go further.
I just to put more where what we spend in terms of on steel pan. We had competition December round, and all the competitions that my band has entered, we've not spent less than $15,000 to prepare for a competition. 8 minutes on the stage.
$15,000.
15,000, not less.
Can I mind your business? Like, how much would it be to hire your band?
Well, for our small size, which is 10 players or less, $950, and it double up as you go.
So you need at least 11 gigs to prepare for one show.
For 8 minutes, correct.
Okay.
So when we tell persons that come, I just want a soloist, just want we make it cost $500.
Not
What?
even 11. My maths is bad. More than 11.
You're paying for 2 months of practice. You're paying for uniform that we had to probably source from overseas. The tuner that we had to bring in from Trinidad. That's the flight alone. And that is about $2,000. You put him up, feed him for a week, and then pay him still $5,000 to tune the pan just to get ready for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So when we ask for prize money to be at $20,000 because you're only making $5,000 profit, they make nice. They're like, why steel
Only
pan?
for steel pan? For steel
pan?
But you see, it comes down to education. How come when you go to a doctor or you go to a lawyer to do anything and they give you the price, how come we don't question the price?
And that's so true.
But when it comes to entertainers and we give you a price, we make this a cost, it's only an hour.
Only, yeah.
For the minute you pick up your phone and you call me to tell me that you want me to perform at a function, me don't start to spend money because me got to go prepare, me got to get uniform, me got to do me hair. Me hair alone is $150. If it's a wedding, I might got to spend like $800 on a suit.
Correct.
You understand? And when I get to your wedding, I done spend close to $3,000-4,000 just to get to your wedding. And I only charge you $950 and you're balling.
All right, I know Fonz has to leave in a while, so I want to get Fonz's input. Now, as a promoter, from the promoter standpoint, what do you need? What do you think is needed to improve that industry?
Well, unlike everybody else who just gave their views, I don't need money. What I need is structure. You and I just had a discussion, you know, and that's a whole can of worms because as the industry grows, these things will happen. You would have outsiders come in and try to get a piece of the pie, so to speak. And our organization has been a victim of that with ECHO. And there's just not enough time for us to even discuss this because as I spoke about structure, there should also be a level of protection for the entertainment industry here and even the entertainers because you would have people that come from overseas and sit down next to an artist and say, hey, you know, we could do this for you, we could get that for you. You know, whenever your music is played, you could get this. And then the artist expecting a fact check. And at the end of the day, these people collect a couple $1,000 and then you get your royalty check and you realize it's only 100, but your name gathered them couple thousand. You understand? So, you know, hopefully when the entertainment industry is being structured, there is a division that deals with the legal aspect. There's a division that deals with protecting stakeholders such as myself. There's a division that deals with protecting artists because if there isn't laws in place to govern how people come into the island and act and set up business, because look, there's so much money to be made in the business. Some people actually get scammed in the business. So for me, no, I ain't asking the government for no money. I just asking for structure. That's it.
You want to make sure the framework supports your activity.
Most definitely.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we currently in a legal battle with some serious value, probably well over $100,000, and there's no support to me for that. So I ain't here to ask about money. For me, that part is serious because if Ike choose to do a function tomorrow or MJ choose to do a function tomorrow, and then he ended up in some legal issues because he is following all the protocols that he understands, and then here comes some legal matter where the business more or less wasn't protected, or the initiative, because it ain't just me as a private entity. It could happen to music festival, it could happen to government for CPL. Somebody pops up, they claim that they own this, there isn't enough proof, and then things just ain't going anywhere. So entertainment sounds like a simple thing, but it's major.
Yeah, it's very detailed, and I think you guys have done a really good job for today, just explaining some of the layers, and I'm sure we still haven't even touched all of them because I haven't really heard anybody talk about transportation, and moving equipment and all these different things that are involved, and I know these things would come at a cost.
And theft.
MJ, look like you in your feelings just now and now on.
When you set up business, whether it is DJ and them kind of things, I hear bandmen and DJs go complain every time, buy a card missing, this missing, and you gotta replace it all the time, and people still question your worth.
And blame you. You should have protected your thing.
Yeah, like come on. So. And I like what Fonz is saying. We have to protect our people.
That's
the
major.
laws.
That's major.
Yeah, the laws have to protect. Don't just say it. Don't just go and say, yes, we're for we people and we're going to make sure this. No. Put it in law. Why ECHO need to come here to set up shop? Or not even set up shop. They just come, take out what they want, gone again. Do they pay taxes here?
But ECHO is supported by law, eh? That,
Okay.
trust me, we could have a whole discussion on that.
So these are the conversations.
Yeah,
we
ECHO is
definitely
supported by
do.
law. Is players and stakeholders in the industry supported by law too? So if ECHO came here and set up shop without the consultation of members in the industry, then I don't understand how.
No, but ECHO represents songwriters and publishers. So they're representing stakeholders.
Okay.
So just like how you operate, they operate because they have been given the power by the people who they represent.
they were given the power by the people who they represent to come, set up shop, extract, and you said they were given the power legally. You said it's supported by law. No, if there is a discussion or even so the writers and the composers are depending on who in order for them to extract funds. Stakeholders, right? On the other side.
Yes.
Which are promoters, event organizers, and so forth. Now, if you are establishing a business with two sides of the fence being involved, right? Then how is it that something was set up with one side of the fence totally oblivious to what it is taking place?
But they didn't really need your permission to set up.
No, no.
They don't really have to. There should be
permission.
right.
I'm not saying the permission, right? There is consultation.
Right.
You understand what I'm
There
saying?
should be consultation.
Okay, then.
There should be consultation. You should
Say,
understand
for
what your
example,
requirements
so, for example,
are.
the setting of rates, right? In Antigua, the rate maybe 5%. Because in St. Kitts, right, entertainment is severely undervalued, you know.
And underpriced.
Now, that in a discussion that I really want to get into, but that's just the reality. Music festival, for example, is probably the cheapest, most professional international show that takes place in the entire world right now. So when it is already at that level of cost, and then you have an entity that comes in and tries to extract resources from that, then what are you going to leave it? How are you going to really protect what is being earned in St. Kitts and Nevis? So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You can't have an entity come from outside and just drop down. Well, the tax is going to be 10%. How? The government can't allow them to do that.
There
Because
has to be.
It could actually backfire. So it could be 10% in Antigua, because in Antigua to see Drake might cost $200 US. But if to see Drake in St. Kitts is only $50 US, then how it could be 10% over here when St. Kitts paid the same amount to see Drake as Antigua did. So to see Drake was $700 US, 700,000 US in Antigua, and in St. Kitts it was 700 US as well. But in St. Kitts, unfortunately, I guess for economic purposes, we set the ticket cost at its highest at maybe 50 US. In Antigua, the ticket cost was 200 US. Then taxing 10% here on a smaller population, on a cheaper ticket price, how does that benefit the stakeholders here? If you understand what I mean.
I understand the point, and I
So the structure, not to cut you off, so the structure has to provide a way for the business to balance, not for it to lose. Otherwise, the industry will be killed.
For both sides of all of the stakeholders to benefit, not
definitely.
necessarily. All right. We could understand the point. I understand the point, and I commend you for bringing out that point so easily. And I think that's honestly the whole conversation about royalties and copyright and
that's
all
big.
these things.
You know, we're not against it. I mean, the artists should be paid, but the artists them should also be. This is not necessarily the powers that be, but laws and structure could be enacted to ensure that they are too protected.
But the law is there. The framework is there, but what it requires is the two parties, all the stakeholders coming together and working out an arrangement. What hasn't happened, from what I understand, is that people don't feel like enough of that consultation took place.
Definitely.
And that you have ECHO as an organization coming down and saying, well, the price is this, and that's that.
Without taking factors into consideration.
Right. So the law doesn't really have anything to do here. It's really for all the stakeholders to come together and come up with an arrangement where everybody feel like they're benefiting.
Well, according to the Act, there is some involvement for the law.
Well, in the court. So somebody has to go to court.
Who said the legislator? Who said it? Because if you're going in court, you're going to be going in court on a basis. So the Act is what the basis is. Who wrote the Act?
Well,
and if there is support for them in the Act, then where is the support for the stakeholders in the Act? If the Act provides for them to have bounds.
The gives you the scope to defend yourself. It didn't give them that power, that ultimate power.
Okay.
So you still have scope to defend your position.
The artists themselves do have to be very careful because, there's this thing. Moving forward, there will be technologies put in place where, artists could protect the works without even having to have collective agencies. Because if you Google, you could see so many artists complain about royalty checks, and they often wonder, well, this is all?
Because the framework,
the administrative fees that comes out is almost...
Yeah, the actual framework to support royalties is very faulty. not because of the law. There are other aspects other aspects that come into play outside of the law.
And to any artist that may be listening, you gotta be very cognizant, because so much artists here take the craft serious and they want to quote unquote boss where they get promises, they get lied to. You feel that this person will take you on a journey and you're gonna make money from them, and sometimes these people actually use you in order for them to advance their own agenda. Very serious.
So I would support that and say that the artists definitely need to educate themselves and look at real life experiences and look at and try and get a full, complete understanding of how royalties work, how collective management organizations work, so that you don't just feel like you don't have a choice, or you have to go along. You just have to, I agree. You don't sell somebody and tell somebody that, this is how you're going to make money and you're going to be able to buy your mother a house, and, don't do that.
A quick question, because I know that this is part of the law that you're into, right?
Mm-hmm.
For most organizations, for example, what is the split? So if Ike as an artist decides he's going to sign up for a collective agency, is there a standard split? So they will take 80% and he gets 20%? Or how does it work?
They set that. The organization sets that. So it's not the law. The law doesn't tell you.
No, I'm saying it's the law.
No.
No. So it's really now up to the artist to say, well, no, you got to be 50-50, or you got to be whatever it is.
The people who sign up to be members, that's how they get their voice in. And if they feel like, let's say it's 60-40 or 70-30 or whatever it is, when you become a member, then you will get the chance to say, no, that 70 is too big. I need 40.
So it's not on an individual contract basis?
No, it's based on the organization. They set what their percentage will be to cover administrative fees.
Can I suggest Gian, that this be a forum, an ongoing thing for... I could invite you on behalf of peace. and this thing be ongoing...
Big man for peace here. What are you doing?
It's an ongoing thing, because organizations could be there,
He's the vice president, man.
Right? Organizations could be there. But the artists, the entertainers, the filmmakers, everybody, the stakeholders they must have this interest in getting that information. Because we have Gian here, and we have Gian with a wealth of information. How many artists have said, let me go by Gian, let me try to understand this, instead of just jumping online and signing up for Echo blindly, right? I'm sure I could count them on my hand.
No, people don't come to me. I end up in hotel rooms and street corners and all kind of things, having conversations.
I'm sure it's more damage control.
It's just people want information, and this area is could be very tricky and very detailed, and I try where I can.
It seems simple now, but based on the position of this case, that set the precedence for entertainment in St. Kitts moving forward.
It will.
It's major.
It will.
So it seems simple now, but until, like you see right now, you got so much people just doing parties and so on. Wait until they knock on your door.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's what happens with this case. With Echo and cane juice, it will set precedent because we have never even had any sort of intellectual property case being tried here. So this is the first. I think already, from conversations with funds and with conversations from Echo, I think both sides see things differently. At least some aspects you realize, okay, maybe I understand where this comes from now. Maybe I have to do this better now. But ultimately, whatever is decided is really going to set a very strong precedent for the rest of the entertainment industry.
I assure you this much. It's all about the approach. If you hold agreements, you should produce them. You
Transparency.
understand? Transparency. And I feel like this is where, as Ika like to say, the powers that be could help to mandate, because they are also too involved in entertainment. So if you're going to have an entity set up shop, come, and they operate a certain way, and they hold agreements for whoever members or artists that they say they have, and they are asking you to pay them money, then it should be a structure where the government can actually say, well, this is how you need to do it, right? One, provide your affiliation. If you're gonna approach an event organizer and they're having de jour, you need to show your affiliation to de jour, and then you go from there. You can't tell them that you're affiliated with de jour without proving it. That's almost like scammer-like, right? So you prove your affiliation,
And anybody has a right to question.
of course.
Yeah.
And if you don't provide that, then what is the legal ground? Also, what legal grounds is there to who sets the structure in terms of the cost and the percent rate, the tax rate, the blanket rates? Who does that? Who?
They do that.
And-
They
and-
say this is the value. This is the value. So pay it.
So the government doesn't have a say in you coming here to dictate what the second come if they actually choose to attack the government, or if based on how this case goes, then that means the government have to fall in line with whatever outside entity just decide to come and do.
Or somebody could decide that they're going to sue Echo because
Who really
the
run the place?
the tariff is too high.
Well, that's the thing. So who set the tariff? I thought the government set tariff.
No, they set their tariff for the property that they're protecting. So it's the same way that if I rent in my house and I decide that this is my rent, that's my tariff.
Okay.
And it's up to you to
see,
either
but
pay
you
it
see,
or don't
but
pay it.
But the government, any territory you're going to, government have the final say. Government could dictate straight up, this is the roof, this is the ceiling, this is the floor.
I don't think government could do that in this instance because government is also a user.
So it wasn't something...
Government will also have to pay licenses.
I'm sitting here listening to Ayo with this back and forth, and you know what sticks out like a sore thumb? The lack of a conversation, the lack of consultation between all parties.
Yes.
You understand? And the protection of the people on the ground, which is supposed to be the ultimate task of the government, is to protect its people and protect whatever investment
And
it has here.
protect the industry.
And protect the industry. But if it's not formalized, if you don't even know that you have something precious, how the hell are you going to protect it? You understand? So you first have to get that understanding. And this whole conversation, if it doesn't reach the ears of the people who are in a position to do something, it's then an arrival.
You see, I actually agree with something that Fun said. Fun said that if they went up, paraphrasing, if they went after the government, perhaps we would have seen more.
Oh yeah.
But they chose to go
After
after funds and cane juice. So
which was the biggest dog at the time. So you got the biggest dog in the yard, and once you cut down that, then everybody's gonna fall in line. You understand? Like the president, when he spoke about they get you with funds, everybody is basically gonna get a grass cut. You understand? So it's up to now the Minister of Entertainment to get on the ground and start to do some work. Start to talk to some people. Start to get things in place.
I think there's a lot of scope for that.
Scope?
There's a lot of scope for that. Because bear in mind though, even though Fonz's case is going to be a precedent, it doesn't have to be applied everywhere else if you could show that my case and Fonz's case are the same. So his judgment, or the judgment in his case, will apply to him. And if they could show that it could also apply to other people, it would apply to them.
That is the intent, Jen.
Well,
yeah, that's
what the
of
intent
course.
is.
Yeah,
well,
that's
men do law, but I know that cases will either come after or before is basically set on precedent.
Yes.
So once a
if
precedent
it
is
applies,
set, once you could find some case study on that, you could use that to come down the line.
Yes.
So my thing is, you're going to wait until it raining, pouring, to go try put on a roof.
I understand.
You understand?
I understand what you're
and
saying.
if we could sit here, we ain't win no elections, we ain't
do it when the fire ain't hot.
Many even want to talk down to us because we are accomplished and professional people. But we are not seen in society's eyes as the
oligarchs.
The oligarchs and the decision makers. These people supposed to be it. And if they ain't seeing it, well, what the hell they doing there?
Well,
I mean, we're sitting here having a discussion about things, and it's like these people are oblivious to it. So unless it reach on their doorstep, nothing is being done. Because look at it, Chukapa been banging around for how long in filming St. Kitts and Nevis? You see anybody make any move to try to formalize his industry? No. It took somebody coming from wherever they come from and buying a boat in order for the government to jump and say, yay, we're now doing something, and we should all, backflip and jump. Okay, fine. No problem. We got entertainment here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Everybody sees the value of it. You want to tell me no mover or shaker in Parliament, in the executive, see what's happening here and decide to make a move to protect this thing? I mean, they even have the same Parliament in Jamaica. I hear artists screaming about this in Jamaica. And Jamaica's entertainment industry is 10 times bigger, more influential than any other around the world. Every country that you set foot on, Jamaican entertainment and pop culture has some kind of foothold inside here. And their own ain't formalized yet. So we know who's so small. We're supposed to be watching and paying attention to these things and begin to put things in place and begin to support us.
Learn from the mistake.
You understand? Oftentimes I see in our country where we send people off to study and they ain't got no room for them back here. Because we need want educated people around here. Because this is my thinking now, that the politicians don't want too much educated people around them, so that they could continue to get away with the foolishness that they've been getting away with. So you're trying to tell me that we have a very viable entertainment industry here, and we ain't going to invest in it like how we invest in a pier?
And protect it.
We ain't going to protect it like how we don't protect the Prime Minister with 2 and 3 vehicles and 20-something security personnel around him. We ain't going to protect, so that ain't valuable enough to protect. All of us make use of it. So why we can't invest in it? Man don't come here, come build hotel, walk in our country with just a briefcase on the arm and a nice suit, and walk into the banks and get millions of dollars. So why is it we as entertainers can't just walk into any bank and just say, hey, we want to put a system just as big as Renter Amp one.
Yeah.
And then we could go on around the Caribbean and bring back the money here. I mean, why the movers and shakers in the country ain't thinking that way? Ronnie Rascal basically has one of the biggest sound systems in St. Kitts and Nevis, along with Adrian Lam. It should have been 10 times bigger than what it is. Adrian Lam and Ronnie Rascal should have got 2, 3, 4 containers where they could ship to St. Martin, ship to Antigua, ship to this and that and this and that. But you know what's stopping them? Access to financing. And when you bring it here, you got to buy it from customs again. We've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
So how is it nothing is being done to fix that? That we could export what we have here. That a Dijon could go up and down the place could sing. Because when Dijon make money, 60,000 US for a show, where you think the money coming back? Into the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis.
That's so.
But we got to invest in with people on that level. Every time we think about something, we want to send for an artist from Trinidad. We want to send for this artist, and we pay them this lot of money. Where the money going back? Back to their economy. But if we don't invest in our own people, because the government got more resources than anybody else, regardless of what they want to say, they have it. They got the clout. If they want to put something, they could actually.
But that's
push
the responsibility of government is to chart a direction.
Of course,
you influence direction. If somebody figured out that we needed traffic lights, so you did that. I shouldn't use that example.
And that didn't even do properly.
But the example is to show that they have changed the whole flow of traffic by just taking this one action. And it's the same thing if we really want to promote certain behavior. You just have to craft the policy and implement the plans to ensure that that sort of behavior is something that could actually happen.
But we could do it. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs.
It can
to
happen.
Every single education minister, every culture minister that has been in office since I began my radio career. I've been screaming it in the face, and none of them, not one of them, made a significant move. And you see, sometimes that I wonder if these politicians really and truly the think. Because even though I might be on a different aisle, a different political persuasion, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to give to you or suggest to you would put you in such a way that you could actually do something of significance and leave a big legacy, probably go down as a national hero.
Okay, you can give us a second here. We have a caller.
Yeah, let it come, Joe.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine. Jan, I wanted to call in.
I know she can't stay away, you know.
I couldn't make it today, but I'm loving the discussion. I've been in and out. But I really wanted to make an input. We see we're talking about the things that we need to do, but there's something that we have not done that we're capable of doing in St. Kitts, and that's an impact assessment on the impact that the creative entertainment industries have on our economy and on other areas. So we talk a lot about talking about how we have an event. We get the makeup artists to make money. We have clothing stores making money because people want to look good, right? We have photographers, videographers, that trickle effect. That's something that we can do because we have a department of statistics. We can get that done, and it needs to be done. Even if it is something that PACE takes up, that there is funding available for this kind of research out there in the world, so that we could be able to demonstrate the impact, because that is generally the issue. We say that we see the impact. We see a lot of people feel it, and we're not able to really demonstrate what that impact is like with real numbers, and that's something that the government seems to want. Other institutions want to see, to be able to even believe that the entertainment industry is extremely impactful. I mean, I've spoken at a lot of events, and I've spoken about what the impact is worldwide. And it is the same thing in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not just in Jamaica. We have events. We are fortunate to be able to have events every week, and that's something that we're not taking into consideration. And also, it is very important for us to not just sit down in a space and continue to say that there are opportunities out there for artists, and that there are opportunities to be able to for persons to get signed and all these things. Our government institutions, like the ones in Jamaica, because I know Ike mentioned it, we need to get up and go out there, talk to people, meet people, and bring them back. Jamaica is one of the only countries in the region. Well, Barbados has those opportunities, but they're few and far in between. The same thing in Trinidad. But in Jamaica, Lion King goes to Jamaica to cast dancers and singers and actors from their very large pool of talent. And we're not getting that here. Why? Because we have nobody lobbying for us outside of St. Kitts and Nevis to tell them, hey, there's talented people as well in St. Kitts and Nevis. And St. Kitts and Nevis is leading in the Oasis region as it relates to entertainment. And we're not doing these things. So I just needed to call in and say, these are other things that we should be doing as well. It's not just that the government needs to fund and the government needs to realize, but there's so many other things that we need to get up and do, whether it's for ourselves and also to encourage officials. And I mean, we have not seen the mainstreaming of the new entertainment industry and the new entertainment
Ministry
as yet. So we are yet to see and hear about what they're going to do to help the arts and entertainment and cultural industries, right? So these are definitely things I want us to put on the table, the impact assessment, as well as getting up and getting out to lobby to get scouts, all these professionals from overseas to come in and look at our talent and take our talent out of the space, groom them, and give them those opportunities that is really going to help our industry, because that's the only how Jamaica grows. They go out and they come back and they give back and they develop the talent that they have in their country. It's the same thing. It has to apply in the same way here. That is one way that we can actually learn from Jamaica. And they do have some sort of formalities. Just thought I said that. They have a lot of cultural and artists and entertainment dedicated departments, groups, entities, everything that helps them to really expand and get over here. That's it. That's all.
All right. Thank you.
Great discussion, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. But just to say, just to respond to something Desi said about the statistics, it's not. We really have to know that we don't have to recreate the wheel, because in 2012, the World Intellectual Property Organization published a report on the economic contribution of the creative industries, and I believe St. Kitts and Nevis was at, I was looking for the exact figure, I want to believe it's 6.6% of GDP, created by 4% of the employment force.
Okay.
So
I believe it's a lot more than that now.
Yeah, and that was 2012.
That was 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Them time the Fed censor wasn't a thing per se. So
Right.
now I could imagine that it's probably more.
So
okay.
we don't have to recreate the wheel, but it would be interesting.
Thank you so much.
To see what that figure is in 2021, particularly in 2020. What would that look like in 2020 when we didn't have tourism to really add to the dynamic of the GDP?
You know, one of the mistakes I think we make as a government, and I'm looking at it as we mentioned the industry, the ministry, sorry, the entertainment ministry. You know, a mistake we make all the time as government. We get ministers and we give them a portfolio of health, and then we drop what we consider low value entertainment with it. We're gonna get the attention.
No, well, in the minister's defense right now, entertainment is. I could understand if entertainment is the last thing on her mind. It's COVID. I mean, she probably sitting down if she was listening to this saying, God, guys, come on.
Give me a break.
Ain't time for this yet. Let's get over COVID and then but the interesting, and I know EK will probably just juke me in my ears and say, ain't she problem? It's delegation.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I was gonna say.
Delegation.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I was gonna stop you. I said, yeah.
And is delegation and making sure that you set up shop and
ask for a junior minister.
Yeah.
But
and you know that has happened in a lot of ministries.
You come right back full circle to the point what I made earlier. So you're going to wait until we start to fall over, put on your roof?
Because after COVID is definitely outside time, right?
I am fed up of people telling me things will take time. Give me a break. You want to tell me we can't walk and chew gum at the same time? You balance your personal life, you balance business, you balance other things on a daily basis.
And their livelihoods.
What was
and
the
an
first
industry.
thing I said to you after one of the cooler fit up in where you had earlier on? If you could recall the conversation.
Tell me, because we don't have a lot.
Fans complained about a cooler fit that was had. And the conversation that you and I had was that, fans, in everything, you need a team. An effective team that you can delegate certain things in order to make the whole thing work.
Come together.
You understand? So you mean to tell me a government with a civil service, with 9 elected members, can't walk and chew gum at the same time? So you're trying to tell me that the only thing right now that is important that can be focused on is health? And we could break down that into many different parts. The basic human necessities, access to health care, access to good food, clean water, and all these kind of things. All that forms part of health. But you mean to tell me that you don't have anybody else at all in this country capable of dealing and formalizing the entertainment ministry that would ultimately formalize the entertainment industry at the same time while COVID is going on? That's the only thing that's going on?
No, we do it. They do it as well with education and culture.
No, but MD, remember, you only have a limited number of ministers. So you have a ton load of government departments.
Right.
So ministers, to be fair to the
Okay.
ministers, they
Let's call
will
it
actually
department.
have to get 5 and 6 and 7 ministries. So you're going to have health and education. Look at the Prime Minister portfolio and tell me how much ministries he
But
is,
they're supposed to
he
function.
is over. Right, they're supposed to function. And that's why I agree with you about delegation and having people in place to ensure that they do the work that is supposed to be done.
And that is the biggest problem we got here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
It is
Too
the biggest.
much of square pegs in round holes.
It is a huge problem.
Just because the
And-
lover minister is supposed to be in a certain position and may not hell what doing? Man.
But thank you for all the work you did on the campaign.
I think I'm ready to leave.
No, but you see these things, and of course I'm not saying that all of our PSs or most or any
Of course
percentage
not.
of the
Of course
PSs
not.
are
Of
not
course
capable
not.
and
Right.
qualified.
Of course not. We're not saying that.
But in this sort of area where you see the value of persons who have in-depth knowledge, practical experience, you realize they have to be involved in charting the direction.
Correct.
They have to be involved.
You don't need me and Ike and Fans and Chukapa don't need to be on a board. You know? You just need to have a conversation with us.
But I would freely give the information.
Have a conversation with us.
Like fans, me no want the money, but if you give me a tet, I'll tell you thanks. But at the end of the day, you cannot exclude anybody for any frivolous reasons. For instance, and I'm gonna be quite frank, if the Ministry of Entertainment gets up and running, because they say they're doing things, but I don't know what they're doing, because me in a part of the thing. But if I was to be included in it, at the end of the day, when we done put this thing together, the minister would probably get the praise, you know. And it could probably help the political career, the political argument that, hey, she's a woman for the job. No. Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you exclude somebody from attaining that for whatever reasons?
You know, sometimes because you introduce the political aspect of it now, a lot of people are excluded because they think that you're not going to contribute.
Crazy.
They already make up their mind. He on another side, so he ain't gonna come. Or he ain't gonna contribute like how we want him to contribute. So from the outset, you are excluded.
But you're hampering yourself, you're shooting yourself in your foot.
But it doesn't seem that way to them.
You're shooting yourself in your foot.
It doesn't seem that way.
Entertainment holds more value and respect from me than any politics anywhere, ever. It doesn't matter to me. I would work with the devil. You hear me?
Because it's attached to your livelihood. I was just about to say.
I would work with the devil to get entertainment to where it needs to be. Once he gonna do his part and he ain't gonna cost me, we could work together. At the end of the day, the bigger picture is it. So we ready and we willing. We could say, oh, you need to do your part, you need to do your part. Hey. But if we keep shouting at each other to do our part and nobody do nothing, where we gonna go?
And then everybody looking at somebody else.
Where we gonna go, Lasta?
So basically what you just say is you're willing to volunteer even if it's somebody, even in the worst case scenario, worst situation, the biggest enemy, you would contribute your time.
Of course.
Fact, same here.
Yeah,
What about
that's
you,
what we have to do.
MJ and Capo?
Without pay, ain't even about the
I'm looking for money.
I'm in the industry as a stakeholder, so that's why you hear me talking about, structure and standards and certain things. I don't even.
What you think I was so
I'm not asking about
successful
money.
as an entertainer? You think everybody I work with like me? Everybody I work with I like? Ain't matter.
I don't care.
Spell my name right on the check.
But the conversation will benefit us in the long run,
Of course.
No matter who minister in, no matter what government in,
Yeah,
if the black and white is there, from the conversation, be like, and over time it will change because things evolve and develop, and you keep having that conversation. No, guys, this is 5 years after, we need to revisit this, and you had that conversation again. So more and more, it's like, okay, then things getting better. Fonzie gonna put on an event next year, and he make $10,000 more than he did this year, because the black and white is there to support
The structure.
the
structure.
we going back there. It's there to
Artists,
support
also,
DJs,
everybody.
Look, that's why delegation is very important and choosing the right people, right? Like I could say this here frankly, and he's my boy now, so I could call him Noah, right? Working with Noah as the chairman wasn't easy, but things happen because it's just a matter of how you work. But now you have a new chairperson, and she and people have different views, but she see things differently. She understands things a bit differently. She was willing to reach out to any and everybody, right? And it really comes down to the people that you put in certain roles and positions as a minister, how you look in the end. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you put the person there who have the best interests in whatever it is they're going to do, then you're going to have the best outcomes.
Yeah, fruits.
Wait, we have a caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thanks.
The Ika there?
Yes, he's here.
Lad, you cover me?
All what you're saying sound good, and in reality, real life. But you either the head or the conductor of the train, and all the good ideas you have, trust me, somebody in charge will suppress those ideas and push you aside. I don't see you will get those things work easily. But what you're saying sound good. Have a good day.
All right.
Lord of mercy.
Difficult don't mean impossible, huh?
Correct.
No.
And when we're properly motivated, we move mountains.
Yeah.
So, continue, Fonz.
No, I was basically just endorsing the fact that if even if the minister may be listening, it's not a matter of putting entertainment above health, and I think that's one of the things that was taking place during even higher heights of COVID. All these people just want a party. Take away the people that you feel want a party. It's actually livelihood for many people, right? I know a hairdresser. She don't really go like that, Elder. And she could talk about the economic impact that COVID has caused and the fact that people had nowhere to go. Even my barber. My barber was so happy to go back to work, right? The fact that people had places to go gave him the opportunity to once again feed his kids. You understand? Put food in the fridge. So rather than just seeing it as all these people want to do is quote unquote party, let me tell you something. Every business wants to make money. Period. And you have to, and I know we have essential workers and so on. So a man's income is essential to him too.
But everything is essential.
Right? So even saying that was almost like a slap in the face to many people. You have, if you have the right discussions, then you would realize how much people actually depend on entertainment. So yeah, health is that's the paramount right now, right? the vaccine was a major discussion because we realized if we don't open up the borders, if we don't get people vaccinated and the borders open, people are going to become threatened. I am for the health discussion, and I support Ike when he said walk and chew gum at the same time, because if we choose to start to deal with this now, then when we open, we're going to be ready health-wise, entertainment-wise, everything across the board. Okay, we're going to be ready to tackle all these things. But if you wait until after we deal with this, and then we go and we deal with that, it almost may be too late. Other Caribbean islands right now, even, look, you see Miami? These people here making a killing and a haul from the Caribbean right now. Major carnivals gone there, major events gone there. And to me, it's almost like, imagine America, who just tell people don't go to Antigua because down there riddled with corona, right? Have an open door. I come up here instead. Mind you, they got corona too, yeah?
Worse rates.
Worse rates. But Miami is fully open and outside, generating the most economic returns they've seen in a very long time. From what? Entertainment.
Well,
the only industry that affects every other business.
Yep.
The only. Entertainment come, Rams make money, hairdressers make money, DJs make money, vendors make money, garbage make money, engineers make money, business people make money. The only industry,
the person who designed the flyer,
that touch every single business out there.
and you guys have noticed how photography has evolved?
Of course.
Because of entertainment. Like once ago, we just used to go into a studio, take a picture, and now it's like a whole event.
Oh, show up to an event.
Now it's like people, and I honestly feel like it's because of photography why people are making these serious investments in, you know, the outfit and the makeup and doing all these different things. Because now the value of the entertainment has risen so much.
But yeah, how come only we want seeing that?
No, other people. But I think, no.
How?
People see, you know, like I guess Ike just would like to get more respect and recognition in the industry for it. When White Sands come in, right? Check one town. Every store putting out white clothes, and the day before you don't know that Barbie sell out. The Indian them is so capitalize.
Why we need to keep banging the horse for something that you're seeing in your face every day?
The respect.
You take it for granted.
We need
It's
to
like
see
the
it
beach.
formalized on a piece of
Formalized?
paper.
Yeah.
Really?
It's already working.
Really?
Jan, Google the most. If you were to Google the most exciting places in the Caribbean with the most entertainment or whatever it is, St. Kitts is actually in the top 10, and in some cases the top 5 in places for you to go and have fun, you know. And that's pre-COVID. After COVID, and I wouldn't like for us to lose that title, because whether you believe it or not, I am so happy that Desi Carlin and spoke about doing an economic assessment test, right?
The impact
report,
assessment.
right? So I used to be a data analyst and a business analyst at the same time, and I've actually started to work on one. I haven't completed it yet because, you know, sometimes I get busy, but at the same time, I promise to give Akilo a copy of it to show more or less, not a long boring report, more or less the benefits and the amount of money that is actually circulated as a result of entertainment. And I know so far we done gone in millions. And it includes, as MJ just said, all types of businesses, from the huge supermarket and wholesalers down to the person that does catering, making sandwiches and so forth. Stores, rental companies, heads in beds. It's as a result that became a popular saying because of music festival. Music festival, that's entertainment. Now we have people coming here to film movies and a whole lot. It's a library.
Yeah.
Was designed for it. You're gonna have Echo coming in all of a sudden in a heavier force because entertainment is growing. It's gonna get bigger, and we have to protect it and nurture it. Because as you know, when things start to go in a small island, you have large entities coming in trying to see how much they can
must
benefit from
lead.
They can come if it
All
wasn't
right,
impactful.
guys, we have a caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. One question. No matter what happens, do you really feel people will stop coming to the island even if the president tell them don't come?
Say that again?
Even if the what doesn't come, we
Even if their presidents or their leaders tell them don't come to the Caribbean islands, do you think they would really stop coming here no matter what happens?
you mean the value of the advisories?
I think he's meant.
Like,
I think he's talking about what.
Yeah,
what
the
happened with Antigua.
advisories.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel people travel where they want to go, but some will listen to the governments. Yeah.
The government put sanctions on something. Like stop flights from going here, stop flights from going there.
You see, right now, you see, you got to understand. Every country looks out for its own interests, and nobody does that better than America.
Facts.
You understand? They would literally be hypocritical in anything that they do to protect their own interests. Mind you, them they got more COVID than St. Kitts and Nevis. You know? St. Kitts and Nevis ain't got no COVID. You know?
Yeah.
You understand? The way how the task force and the government manage this thing is nothing short of a miraculous thing. We ain't had no deaths. We ain't had no community spread. Big ups to them.
And somebody actually,
community.
he had a news
And the community as
article
well, because we also played a part. But
saying
the
that
government
Haiti is the lowest. And no,
Haiti.
St. Kitts is the lowest. I feel like it should actually be publicized. We should be putting this in media.
Right.
That should be part of the marketing agenda post-COVID.
But here comes an advisory from a place riddled with COVID, telling their citizens, be careful when you come down here. Really? You
yeah,
got to
really
be
feel
kidding.
people just pay attention to those things?
Some people do.
Well, some would. I
people
guess
do,
some would.
Some people do, but something you have to think about what's the whole purpose and reason behind something like that. Cover it up there, take your breath. We down here weather this storm because of the mechanism that we put in place and we people managing this thing. And you telling you people don't come down here. Why? You want your people to stay up there and spend their money
Spend the money, of course. Yeah,
and
yeah.
not come and give it down here because what? Your economy was suffering. So therefore, you want to keep your people in your space and not have them go out and do it. Now they're doing what they're doing to protect themselves, even though it makes us look bad. So this is why we are saying here that we also need to adapt the same mentality and look out for our own interests and not allow these people to dictate how. You understand? Yes, there are certain things in place internationally and otherwise, but you still also have autonomy to run your country how you see fit based on your interests.
Okay, we have another caller. Good afternoon. Oh, we lost that caller.
Come and talk to them now, sir.
You back? Okay, let's go. Okay.
What Ike just say is
Hello.
oh, somebody on the line.
Oh, hello.
Hi, I'm here listening to you all. And yeah, you all sound good, but guess what? Health is better than wealth. If you don't have health and you have wealth, you don't have nothing. You have to think about health first and then wealth after. And that's what the government is doing, looking about your health first. Because when anything happens, people always come and point their finger upon the head. We have to take care of ourselves. I've been growing up, health is better than wealth.
All right. Thank you.
So I think that we all should look at that. First, health. The music industry, yes. But when you go to the music, you have music and them things. People going in, jumping up on everything and touching up on each other with the perspiration and whatever. What happened? We are not truthful to each other. I could say I have the vaccine. I could say I don't have this when I have it. And sometimes they have a thing they call carriers. People who carry disease, they don't know. They don't know. And when I rush up on you and you get it and you say, but I rush up on that person, but I'm not sick. Yes, I'm the one that inject you, but I don't know, even though I have it myself. So think about health first and then wealth after. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I want to respond because I think the caller is missing the conversation by leaps and bounds and miles. Nobody here on this panel ever suggested that you should choose one over the other.
Oh, well.
Okay, wait, Ike. Hold on one so long. We have another caller.
Okay, let the caller come through.
Hello, good afternoon. Okay, we lost them. Okay, go ahead.
And here's the dilemma. Health. Did you know, and I made a point of it in my discussion, that entertainment is also part of your mental health.
Yes.
Not just your physical
I was going to ask,
health.
what is health? What do you mean in that health?
You understand? You got to look at it holistically. Take away entertainment from any human being and allow them to continue to live the life that they're living. They could eat the best, have the best food, and the stressors of everyday life will cause them to deteriorate in mental health.
All right, one second, AK. Oh, you showed that we lost that one. There's another one. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, greetings.
Yes.
Thanks for accepting the call. Greetings all. Yeah, you're right, my brother. Me and take up very part of, but it's a wholesome vibration, definitely so. But, within the scheme of things, people try to break it down into pieces. And if health is observing that, health is observing in that aspect, in truth, it should be right across the board, because when we look on our environment, how the way people are treating the environment, we're not talking about the cleaning up, we're talking about the nastiness. Why we not pay some of that some attention? When we talk about health, it's for health and it's for the people's health. No, we don't buy that. And health is wholesome. Entertainment, music, and the rest of it is all part of health, being a healthy human being. You see it? And talking about entertainment, all right, we got this thing with borderline. People can't travel. So, in our space, let me be creative. Because me see the Spanish people entertain themselves, in great numbers, in the different corners, So me say the people who into entertainment, who born, whether it's theater, music, whatever. We have a population. Let me just target the population and put out everything and do what we do. Make sure it's not a stifling. Yes, they're going to talk about numbers. But let me just go to some kind of negotiation, because I don't see other people party and entertain themselves in great numbers. And the body trouble them and the cluster between one another. So let me just be real with this thing here and just do what we have to do in our space, in the midst of what go on. Not make nothing stifle and stop the entertainment vibration, the music vibration, and the gathering of the people to release themselves from these sanities that surrounds we and encompass we.
Yes.
Let's say blood for the reason,
Thank you so much for your call. And if I could actually mention as well, we like I said in the beginning, I think sometimes we think about entertainment in a very one-dimensional way. But we have to look at the impact of church could be seen as entertainment as well.
Church is a part of it.
So whatever rules and protocols are put in place for fetes and gatherings, it will affect church as well. But for some reason we think about it differently. Wait, Ike, we have another call. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good day.
Oh yes. Good afternoon, Ike.
Yes, sir.
Boy, I just recognize the voice. I say, what Ike doing on Win FM, boy?
We dragged him.
Anyway, I have to pick up on something you said, Ike.
Sure.
About entertainment. Entertainment is very important because, do you know, and I'm sure you must have heard, that spousal abuse, children abuse has increased since the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You have people locked up in a space they can't go nowhere. So I just called to agree with you that entertainment is really important. People can't just stay in the house all day, all night. People are accustomed to work, they don't come out. Even coming out to work is entertainment in a form. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Once you interact with another human being, and it gives you emotions and that kind of thing.
You need
you
that.
really need that. And somehow I never view it that way.
But now that you bring it forward and having heard all this spousal abuse and problems with, you have two people who probably may not get along too well, and because they don't work now, they're locked down in this small space 24/7. Ain't really easy. So, yeah, you score a good point there with the entertainment. Thank you very much, bro.
Yeah, give thanks.
All right.
But not to finish the point that I was making.
And you have to
with the
finish
lady.
because we have 5 more minutes.
Right. I don't think she fully understands what we're saying here, and I don't want her to run away with the idea that we want to choose one over the other. In anything in life, you must have some form of balance. You understand? Because how could you be healthy without an income? How you going to buy food? How you going to this? And then you're going to add to the deterioration of your mental health. I think sometimes when we speak of health, we only look at it as, oh, we're not going to sickness. But your mental health is also a part of you.
Mental health can make you sick too.
It could make you sick. You understand? And what mitigates that is entertainment. Whether you go to walk up yourself and sweat up yourself between people, or you sit down and you watch a movie.
Yeah, but it's
Listen some good
unfortunate that
gospel.
she see it as,
Or listen some
as
good gospel.
sweating up and that just
That's what I'm saying. I think
Some
we
people
see
in
it in a
church
very
don't sweat up themselves
one-dimensional.
when they're party too. I mean, come on. When the churches couldn't have their thing, they scream out. So don't look at it from that shallow way, darling. Think about it in a broader spectrum. This is people's jobs that you're talking about. It's not just going out to walk up yourself. Because what we're trying to explain is that entertainment isn't just walking up yourself. You have the sound man, you have the hair salons, you have the barber shops, you have the clothing stores. Every single aspect of life is touched by entertainment in some way, shape, or form. So it's not just for us to go out and walk up yourself and drink and drop. No, it's a job, darling. It's a career. That's how I get my kids to go through school. That's how I pay the bills. I got a ticket to go pay now. That's government gonna make a sugar cake after me. You understand? It's every single aspect that we are talking about. We don't want to choose one over the other. We understand that the COVID is around. We understand how it spreads, and you could practice being in a social setting properly, safely, using the protocols.
Right.
So just don't relegate the conversation here just going out and walking
I
up
think she
yourself.
said it wrong. She said don't choose wealth over health. But the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. And health in this broad, like Ike is saying, in this broad spectrum. All of it.
Well,
financial, mental, social.
Everything.
Well, I think that means she has a fundamental issue with the borders being open because the health will definitely be affected. In fact, they're telling you straight up that is how we can be impacted. So I do hope that she's at least taking the vaccine.
But every Christmas into January we catch a bad flu, and it hits you depending on how strong your immune system is. God gave you an immune system to protect you against these things, and you have to keep it up just like any other thing with your exercise and eating right and having a good mental health regimen as well. So it's a holistic thing. It's not just keeping us safe from COVID or what happened to the immune system that God give us and keeping that strong.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would like to add to it is we and I think Ika said it earlier, we have this mentality that we have to focus on one thing. Everybody must turn their attention to this one thing and not realizing that we can, as he said, walk and chew gum at the same time.
Well,
the
still
hospitals be open and the banks open at the same time. Everybody focuses on something different. And today what we attempted to do was really bring the focus onto entertainment to see what the sorts of focuses need to be going forward, how we can develop that industry to its fullest potential post-COVID-19 or even more recently during COVID-19. How can we make sure that we still provide that entertainment aspect but do it safely in a way that it doesn't threaten us, our health and our ability to get the relief and the release that entertainment gives. So, gentlemen, we are on the clock. I guess, I'm sorry I won't be able to give persons the opportunity to give closing statements.
Can I
just
say
quickly,
something
like
before you
quick?
I am begging, if any minister is listening, that we have roundtable discussions moving forward. You need to make time for it. Going around the bush is a need. We're begging that, we're asking that of you to have roundtable discussions. Forget the town hall meetings. Then we come around the table and then we start trash out things in details, so all of us could understand.
Yeah, come talk to me, not at me.
Let's understand the vision of each other. Yes, you're dealing with something. We're also dealing with something. Let's sit around the table and have discussions in details, and that is the plea.
All right. Well, I think MJ has closed off the panel very well. I want to thank each of you for giving up so much of your Saturday to have this discussion. We really need to have these discussions outside of our private domains. We put them out in the airways so that people could really add to the discussion and hear what the issues are. So even for that caller who called and said, he didn't see something that way until Ike said it, I think we could say that our job was done at least with one person today. So thank you for tuning into Alarm Clock with Inside the News and Win Media SKN, and stay tuned to our Facebook page to find out when we will be back again. Thanks again.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's